Every family has a mystery.
Everyone's got their own version, their own story.
I have thought about this my entire life.
And I've asked New Zealanders to bring me theirs.
There's all these different theories.
Starting with a clue.
It's 100 years old.
Really? That opens a can of worms.
My neighbours were the ones that told me he'd passed. You haven't given me a lot to work with, I'm going to be honest.
I work with a team of experts.
It's signed in pencil.
Stop it, it is. Dig into the archives.
So I've got a recording of him.
My grandfather was a quarter Negro.
And explore every possible angle.
He's a descendant of someone who was enslaved.
They were right.
To uncover the hidden story.
Kuro, finally see you.
And ultimately solve mysteries that cross the globe and span generations.
Oh, I can't ever remember not hearing about it. It's just been part of the conversation all our lives. The mystery hasn't really impacted my life, but it affected my mother greatly. My mother's unable to come here today, so I'm here on her behalf because of her health. She's spent an awful lot of time researching and trying to solve the puzzle herself. Just been trying to understand what her mother was involved with.
Hello, you must be Kim.
I am. We have a picture of my grandmother.
Oh, beautiful. Gosh, she's stunning.
She's very beautiful.
And there's more?
Yes, in my grandmother's possessions when she died, we found some artefacts. This is a book on how I became a counterintelligence agent. And she underlined various passages of interest for her.
So I am fascinated to see where this is going.
We also have a visual flight guide, so whether or not she was teaching herself to fly. Again, she has underlined various portions of the book.
Okay.
Also in her locked briefcase is what we believe was cipher code.
Whoa. Kim.
Yeah, so my mother actually deciphered the code. My grandmother had the habit of writing her name in books, and so my mother then went on to decode the other information she found.
Did your mother know why all this existed?
She was always brought up with the belief that her mother was involved in spy activity during the war.
Okay. Wow. This is a story, isn't it? Did her mother tell her herself?
Bits and pieces, not very much. When my mother was 6 years old, her mother left her father and her siblings. And she didn't see her mother again until she was 27.
That's massive. To not have your mum from 6 to 27, especially in those formative years, is huge.
Yeah.
So what time frame was this? What year are we talking about that she left?
It was early 50s when my mother was 6.
Is the assumption that she was a spy for the other side?
Yes, we believe that my grandmother was a spy or a German agent. She had a photographic memory. She could speak 5 or 6 languages.
I wasn't aware that there were a lot of German spies in New Zealand.
Actually, my grandmother was Australian, and before the war started, it was said that she met a German man in Sydney, Australia, and secretly got married unbeknownst to her family. He was called back for the war, and he was killed. and she was involved through mutual friends of theirs into the actual whatever she did during the war.
Sorry, I'm quite blown away by this.
Yeah, so her life is a bit of a mystery. We have bits and pieces of information.
This is amazing, what you've given me. Is this it? Is this all you've got?
No, my mother has got folders of information and documents at home at her house, and she has researched it for many years, so there's a lot more information.
So this has obviously been something that has been on your mother's mind for a long time, if she's done all this research. How would she feel if this is all true?
She pretty much already thinks that her mother was a German agent, but she's researched as far as she can go, and she's sort of at a roadblock.
And you're hoping we can verify this spy story and fill in some gaps?
Yeah. Solving this mystery for my mum, I think, would bring closure and help her better understand exactly who her mother was. I have a lot of sympathy for my mother and the hard times she went through growing up as a child and all the loss that she suffered. She was a great mother that did a lot for me, so this is one thing that I can do for her, help her finally put this to rest, hopefully.
Kim has passed on all she can recall from her mother's stories. If we combine that knowledge with the info found in her trove of documents, we believe that the timeline for Kim's grandmother Loretta looks like this. She became interested in the German language and culture at age 13. She met a German man, Marcus, who she fell in love with. Married at 16 and travelled to Europe with at some point. Marcus was called to fight for the Nazis in the Second World War. While he was fighting, Loretta was coerced to spy for the Germans. Despite her husband being killed in the war, Loretta stayed in Europe for a while, but eventually returned to Australia to settle down, marry, and have children. However, she stayed in contact with her husband's German friend Max, and by association, a man named Ulrich. It was at this time Loretta resumed her work as a German agent in Australia, forcing her estrangement from her family. It's a lot to take in, but I feel I need to speak with Kim's mother, Anne, to hear her perspective. It's actually her mystery. What exactly does she want to know? Anne, I don't quite know where to start. Before your mother left, what memories do you have of your life, in those early years?
My mother and father we had a really, really happy home. We lived down just not far from Bondi Beach. And then my grandmother died and we moved in with my grandfather. And my mother was housekeeping for him while Dad went to work. And that's where the blackmailer found her.
I've received my most compelling family mystery yet. Was a woman named Loretta supposedly spying for the Germans in this part of the world in the early 1950s? I'm speaking with Anne, Loretta's daughter. She thinks the spying was the result of blackmail. Blackmailing her with what?
I think it was reporting her for spying on Australian territory. New South Wales had the death penalty for treason up until 1985. when Ulrich started blackmailing her in 1953.
Oh, Ulrich.
Yep, he was the blackmailer.
Right.
So she wrote to Max, a German friend, asking for help. There's a translated copy.
Oh, well, this is a plea for help, isn't it?
Yep.
Ulrich helped me out. I've more than paid him back. As I said, Max, the papers are easy for me to write, but I cannot move from point to point. It would arouse too much interest, prompt too many questions. In fact, it would disrupt my entire life as my circumstances are now. It does not affect me alone.
She couldn't do it with Dad and us kids in her life.
What was it?
I thought they were relocating Nazi war criminals. But I asked my mother that outright and she said no, that's not what she was doing. So I don't know what she was doing. She said the secret would die with her.
Whatever happened to Ulrich? When did the blackmailing end?
1957, when he died in hospital.
How do you believe that your mum got involved in all of this in the first place?
When my mother was filling me in with why she left us, she said to me, I made one mistake when I was 13 years old, and from then on my life's been out of my control. But at 13, she was on a tram in Sydney going to music lessons, reading her French book. She was fascinated by languages, and there was a German couple saw her and started up a conversation with her, and they developed a friendship from 13 up till 15. She was going to the Germans' place, meeting up with all their German friends, and that's where she met Marcus, who eventually became her husband. Max was part of the group. He was best man at their wedding. Ulrich, the blackmailer, he was part of the group.
Right.
There's a photo of Marcus, and my mother has got a map, a German map, and shows where he was killed in North Africa. He was fighting under General Rommel. And that's the only photo she's got left of Marcus.
So Marcus is your mother's first husband?
Her German husband.
Right, who was part of that initial group and just killed a few months after they were married.
Yep.
What do you know about Ulrich?
It seems that he organised a false passport for her to leave Australia when she went to get married to Marcus.
And Ulrich would later be the one that blackmailed her.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Sitting here with you, I am remembering how I felt when Kim came up and shared your story. And it was an incredible story, but the thing that really affected me was the fact that your mother left you at the age of 6 and you didn't see her again until you were 27. And I can only imagine how hard that was.
Yeah. It was a big loss when I was 6, and I even found a letter. It's a Dear Mummy letter.
Oh, man. Dear Mummy, why don't you come up and make friends? I love you very much, Mummy. Love from Anne.
Yeah, that's when she was in Sydney doing whatever she was doing for Ulrich. And I even know there's another letter that Dad had written. He's writing to my mother because she was meant to be coming back to us. And he said, Anne says that at night she dreams she can fly. And she dreams that in the morning, if she can fly, then you'll come back to her. Yeah, I was always wanting my mother to come back.
You just wanted your mummy to come home.
Yep. When I had my daughter, Kim, I had this little baby in my arms one day, and I thought, how can a mother not love her little girl? And that's when I finally plucked up the courage and said to my father, what was my mother's last name? And so I started the search for her then.
And you found her?
And I found her and corresponded with her, wrote letters for a few years. Kim was 5 when I finally went over and saw her, 27.
Tell me about reconnecting with her at 27.
Yeah, it's very awkward to talk about that time because my mother wasn't a normal person. You see people reuniting with lost loved ones. They both rush up, give big hugs. I'm a huggy person. I didn't realise that my mother wasn't. And at the airport, my mother sat in the distance and she didn't sort of come up to me. I found it all quite awkward, the first meeting.
It wasn't the reunion that you had hoped for.
Not that I imagined, but of course, when I got talking to my mother just one-on-one, we just started connecting and she started telling me a story the next day.
So Kim's shown us some of the things that were in the briefcase, but I know there was much, much more. What else can you show me?
Right, well, first of all, a copy of 2 of the telegrams.
And this is 15th of October 1953, so that's 2 months after she left you.
Yep.
Necessary finish tonight. Ulrich impatient, ring me if difficult. Important you come, Ulrich more demanding, am disregarding risk through urgency.
It seems from those 2 telegrams that Ulrich was the boss.
Yeah.
In whatever was going on,
Yeah.
Ulrich was the boss.
Yeah.
And then there's a letter written to an unknown person, and there it is in English.
Oh my goodness. If ever you receive this, you will know me to be dead, for I have left instructions that this letter be posted to you in the event of such a thing coming to pass. At 275, you will find keys, necessary papers to enable Hong Kong connections. This is like the stuff from movies, Anne, isn't it? It's not what someone's mother writes in letters. It's just crazy.
That's why it's very hard to get back into a normal relationship with someone who's been through all these experiences. The main issue is I would like to know the correct history to leave behind for my family. I would like to have had something official as to what exactly was happening, but I can't seem to find it anywhere with all the research I've done.
You've given me so much here, and I am going to go away and hopefully make some connections.
That would be nice, yep.
I have clarity now. Solving this mystery is about confirming Loretta was a spy. Anne needs to know she wasn't abandoned without good reason. And along with the documents Anne showed me, there are letters between her and her first German husband, Marcus, last name Karsten, and a map. These suggest he died under Nazi General Rommel in North Africa. She also tells me that Loretta's time in Europe was supposedly spent working in a bakery called Armand Telesforo. This could have been her cover when the spying initially began. So with everything I now know, I think it's time to step things up a notch. I'm taking Loretta's supposed spy messages to a professor of mathematics who specialises in cryptology. It looks like they're from the Second World War. I have brought some with me, which I'd love for you to scan your eye over. Looking at this, can you tell me anything at first glance? Because our suspicion is that the person that wrote this was potentially a spy for the Germans. Does it look likely to you?
No. That's done by amateur.
I'm trying to figure out if a woman named Loretta was working as an enemy spy for the Germans in 1950s Australia. I've taken some of her encrypted messages to a professor of mathematics to assess.
Does it look likely to you?
No. That's simple substitution cipher. Instead of a letter, you invent a symbol. For a professional to crack this cipher, maybe 15, 20 minutes. In the Second World War, for example, my father was an officer in the Russian army. He left diaries, and certain part of his diary he encrypted because there was no privacy there, but simple cipher again was sufficient for keeping this private.
Okay, so the conversation between friends.
Yes, friends, lovers, business associates.
What about spies?
Oh, spies will be using much more sophisticated secret key cryptography.
Right. Thank you so much for your insight into this. To be honest, it's not what I was expecting. You have thrown me a bit of a curveball. So I'm going to need to go away and potentially change tack. Professor Slinko pretty much dismissed the code, and now it has me questioning everything. I need to go back to the fundamentals that underpin Loretta's story. Did she actually marry a German named Marcus Karsten? Was he a soldier under General Rommel for the Nazis? And was their relationship even real? Did Loretta really move to Europe? She supposedly worked at a bakery called Armand Telesforo. If I can prove the bakery existed, that's a starting point. What about this blackmailer, Ulrich? Are there any records of this man's movements to and from Australia that tie in with Loretta's timeline of events? I've posed these questions to German researcher Katja May. She's going to do a deep dive into the German archives. Loretta's daughter Anne and granddaughter Kim have given me so much information I am struggling a little. For example, Kim at one point said this.
There are stories where after she left, she would come back in the night and check on the kids. There are also stories where she thought maybe her mother was sitting at the back of the bus when she was travelling on a bus. So it's like her mother was almost watching them from a distance.
It just seems so far-fetched. So I'm heading to Canberra to speak with Australian spy expert Emily Catt. I've sent her some documents in advance, including Loretta's codes and hand-drawn maps. When the story arrived to me, I was, I don't know, I wasn't convinced because it's so fantastical. What is your gut feeling? Could this young woman really have been a spy for the Germans in Australia?
Based on the information that you've given me, as someone who is collecting and gathering and passing on information, I think that seems really likely. There are examples of women doing this sort of work. Annette Wagner, she was believed to be collecting information. One of the things that she was doing was going up in a plane over Sydney Harbour and taking some photographs. And we also have a huge amount of women working in signals intelligence in World War II as well, doing that sort of code-breaking work. We also have examples of double agents as well. Kay Marshall, she was from New Zealand. She came to Australia. She'd made connections to people while she was in New Zealand who were Russian. They kept trying to cultivate that relationship, but she was secretly working for Australian security intelligence agencies. So in Sydney there was people with Nazi interests, based on what you've told me about Loretta, she would have been this huge sort of boon for them, having this girl who is completely flying under the radar. If they're cultivating her to be an agent, they would have started off with little things. Maybe can you pass on this message? Can you get me a map of something? Can you take a couple of photos?
Let's not forget as well, she fell in love. She got married, just turned 16, very much in love, and love makes you do crazy things.
Absolutely, particularly if they're leaving in the 1930s, you know, the breadth of what was going to happen in the war wasn't completely known. And I think adding the love story element, I think would have just heightened things. The fact that there's this person that shows up later on that tries to extort her as well. She's got a lot to lose. She's got a family to lose and things like that. She was in a sort of risky position, likely not questioning too much either. Things sort of run on a need-to-know basis. If you don't need to know all the details, then it's likely that your handler isn't going to give you absolutely everything.
I think for Loretta, what was almost more terrifying, what she wanted to avoid, was the black mark it would leave on her family.
It really paints an interesting picture of the enduring impact that that sort of work can have on an individual, which I don't think she anticipated when she was all of 13 years old wanting to learn German.
How could you? I want to move to the cipher code. What are your thoughts?
So by World War II, we have really, really, really advanced codes. So this code indicates something sort of, I guess, much more simplistic. When I was talking about her role as a passer of information, I think this illustrates that people are trying to find ways to get around the surveillance of certain groups as well. When we think of spies, I think because they're such a popular topic, you think of James Bond out there with a gun or a tank. One of the big parts of security and intelligence sort of work is gathering that intelligence, the things that they're going to need if a war breaks out, coastlines, maps, how the infrastructure works. So her job might not have been being a spy in the way that we think of it, but it might have been more gathering and passing on intelligence, talking to people, attending meetings and things like that.
It's a crazy story, and I think what you've really helped me with is to understand that this is not an isolated incident, and therefore it is not impossible that Loretta was a spy for the other side.
Yeah.
So the story is still plausible, but there isn't any hard evidence to come out of this conversation. But within a few days of me getting back to Aotearoa, my German researcher reaches out to me. I'm investigating a woman named Loretta. Was she spying for the enemy in 1950s Australia? She told her family some details. A blackmailer named Ulrich, a marriage to a German soldier named Marcus Kariksten, and a cover job at a Swiss bakery, Arman Telesforel. Such specific details would be hard to gather in a pre-internet world. So is the story fact or fiction? I've asked a German researcher to find out. Shall we start with the bakery? Because I really want to know, did it actually exist?
So I went into two company registers, one a more regional one, a more broader approach, and then a local one in Lugano, and they both came back with an entry in the registry stating that this bakery existed. And I'll show you that image. So it says, here is the name, Armano Telesforel.
Wow.
I had another evidence that it existed, and that's probably the more interesting evidence. So if you have a look here, so this is an old ad from 1936, which proves that this bakery existed.
Great work. From 1940 to 1943, she supposedly worked there, according to the reference. That puts her at 16 years old when she started. It's wartime in Switzerland. What is she doing there?
That's the big question. I mean, you have to imagine Switzerland was surrounded by all these countries involved in the war. Germany, Austria, Italy, France. How do you get in there as a 16-year-old? I mean, that's quite astounding.
And we know there's no record of her leaving Australia. So it seems through this guy, Ulrich, she got there on a false passport. Okay, so Marcus, Loretta's first husband. Were you able to find anything on him?
I thought, okay, how do we know that Marcus really existed? So I started digging around and online, and I found this digital database about German missing soldiers, and I typed in his name, and I had a rough place of death in North Africa, because supposedly he was a soldier in Rommel's Panzer Division, which at the time fought in that area. And with all that information that we had, this is an official register which proves that this person existed as a German soldier.
Wow, that's amazing.
And we also have this old love letter from Marcus, which I know we weren't sure about. Is it authentic? And I read it and I translated it, and I actually had to go back to my mom, who lived during that time, and ask her to read it out to me so I can understand the German. No one who is not German at the time would have been able to write in that type of writing. It's old-style German. It was written by a German. And date-wise, it all matches, so the timeline just nicely fits into each other. So I think it's just too good to be made up.
Thank you so much for translating the letter, the love letter.
It's okay.
Just want to have a quick read. Oh, my dear Loretta, I've been so busy the last week, I haven't had a chance to write you a letter. My thoughts are always with my beloved Loretta. I know, my darling, as you have said so many times, that it is so hard for us. But we have to live through it until the war ends. Be patient, Loretta, and always trust in me. I love you so much.
It is a love letter.
It is a love letter.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, so Katja, the big question I have is, were you able to find out anything on this guy Ulrich, the supposed blackmailer?
So I found two people by the name of Ulrich. Very uncommon name, obviously, in Aussie. And we were looking for an Ulrich who died in hospital in 1957. So I went onto the birth, death and marriage records in Australia, and I found that there were only two people who died around that time. And then I jumped onto the National Archive records, and I could find out a little bit more about those two guys. So one of them was born in Australia, but his dad was from Berlin, from Germany.
Okay.
But according to the records that I could find here, he never left Australia. Yes, he could have traveled on a fast passport, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Because the other Ulrich that I found is way more interesting. And he was born in Switzerland. Right. Interestingly enough.
Yes.
Yeah. So he came to Australia in February 1932, and then he left Australia at some stage. We don't have any records about that though, but he returned in October 1953, which was about the time when the blackmailing started. So he died in February 1958 in a hospital, which also was when the blackmailing stopped.
Right.
So there's quite a lot of coincidences
there is.
here.
Wow, that's really interesting. There are so many characters in this story and so many different facets, but it's coming together. So, the bakery reference, you were able to confirm that the bakery did exist. You were able to confirm that Marcus was a real person and died in North Africa in the war. There's so much here that's lining up. The biggest thing for me, though, is I think we've found our blackmailer. I think you found Ulrich. I've been trying to solve Anne's mystery. Was her mother spying for the Germans in 1950s Australia? I've spent weeks speaking to and communicating with numerous experts, both here and around the world. Finally, it's time to tell Anne what I've found. Was there good reason for her mother to abandon a family she dearly loved?
So it was your daughter Kim that originally brought the mystery to me, but she feels that this really is your story. So we went to Canberra to see Emily Catt. She's an espionage expert at the National Archives of Australia. Just to kind of get a feel for, I guess, espionage at that time in Australia. Did she have examples? And she talked about why women made great secret agents, how they were recruited, and the kind of roles that they did. I found that really interesting. She felt really strongly that, you know, this was a child who had been recruited and groomed, essentially, because of the fact that she was an Australian national, a young girl, very, very low suspicion.
I think, whether I'm just being naive, I don't think any of this came from her husband. I believe his love for her was genuine, and Marcus told her, anything happens to me, don't trust Ulrich. So I don't think he had visions of her being an agent or carrying on further.
Yeah. So what our espionage expert concluded was, yes, she was likely a spy. No, she wasn't a 007 type of spy that we see in the movies, but she worked as an agent, information gathering and sharing, that type of thing. And next, I wanted to look at some of the assumed facts of the story and confirm them. I guess what we were looking for was any holes in the story that could disprove anything. So we wanted to authenticate the bakery reference. So we had a German researcher who had people on the ground in Switzerland and Germany. She was able to tell me that this bakery did exist at this time. So here is an ad for the bakery.
Tell us, Flora.
She was even able to confirm that that was the telephone number. So it existed.
Amazing. It existed.
The next thing that we felt was important was to confirm that Marcus was a real person. So this is a record that shows that Marcus did exist. It shows that he went missing in 1941, which lines up with what Loretta had said.
Well, it's interesting because I've never seen the official document that actually says that.
And I think it's all these little things that line up that mean...
Just verifies her story.
Verifies, exactly, So now we get to the murkier waters of the case and some new information on the man we believe is the blackmailer, Ulrich. He was one of the original recruiters, and he was the one that essentially made your mother's life a misery. And it turns out that this connection to the bakery is convenient because it turns out that Ulrich is Swiss, and this is not very far from his hometown.
I've been interested in that. So did you know his last name, find out his last name? Wow, this is really new information. Great.
So I can tell you his name by pulling out his death notice.
Wow, this is great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Great, I'm glad. There you go.
Oh, wow. Switzerland. How far is that place from Lugano?
It's very close.
Is that right?
This is obviously great. This is Ulrich, but this alone is not enough. So this is evidence of when he arrived in Australia. Our guy, Ulrich, arrives, he's naturalised not long afterwards. He leaves again, but returns just before the blackmailing starts and dies at the time the blackmailing ends.
It's amazing that we've got that information. Yeah.
One of the questions that you really wanted answered was, what was your mother, Loretta, doing for Ulrich at this time as part of this whole blackmailing thing? Because that was what took her away from you. And that's, you know, it's difficult to know. But it's 1953, it's the height of the Cold War. We know from the German military archives that it's likely that Ulrich, the blackmailer, was part of the Stasis. So our expert in Australia believes that that information gathering role that she would have been doing before would have been just as valuable in the 1950s. And maybe there was something unique about her skills that he needed.
Yeah. I was still thinking of the war and the German link. It makes incredible sense to me now. That, to me, was the big link that was missing. What was going on and what she was doing, and having that information about Ulrich verified, and even the Swiss background of his, it just, yeah, it helps fill in those gaps that were in the story.
I know that you probably still have a lot of questions around this, and, you know, it's unlikely that you'll get answers to everything just because of what we're talking about. So I guess I'm wondering at this point, do you feel like you have some closure?
I think you've answered all the main issues that I had with the story.
Oh, great.
Especially the big bit about Ulrich. But to bring the Cold War into the story, that to me makes sense. It didn't quite add up before,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I guess one thing that I feel is important, I hope you do too, is that although we can pretty much say now that yes, your mother was a German agent, but I hope you can also see that she was a child who was manipulated. And I imagine it was very difficult, when and if she realised the extent of what she was in, very difficult to get out. Where do you go?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really tragic, traumatic story.
Yeah. No, it had a big impact on a lot of lives. And thank you, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That makes such a difference to the story.
I'm so glad.
Yeah.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, it does.
Anne is now confident in the fact that her mother was doing intelligence work as a German agent, and she was blackmailed into doing so. She's grateful to her daughter Kim for bringing us this mystery to solve. Now she can pass on this information to her family. Now we're looking for more family mysteries. Do you have an item you've always wondered about, or a family story posing questions you just can't answer? Apply now at tvnz.co.nz/mystery.